This is Special Report.
Black holes are one of the strangest things in existence.
Neil Armstrong may have seen extraterrestrials on the moon.
When he spies a discernible shape.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
You can deny all the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there. And no one, no government agency has jurisdiction over the truth.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Full Spectrum Universe. My name is Rob Yonks. I will be your host this evening while we traverse this universe. And we have an amazing guest this evening. And it's somebody that I've been listening to quite a lot lately after we've met on events and getting to know him a little bit better. His work is cutting edge. It's incredible. It does nothing but help the people around him. And the services offered are just absolutely beneficial to the greater community as a whole, and to help people heal and to bring people closer to what their understanding of consciousness is and their experience through this 3D reality. And it's cosmic on many levels. So as everybody knows, tonight's guest is Galactic Greg. And Galactic Greg began his inspired journey within the realm of Western and industrialized psychiatry, experiencing the full weight of antidepressants, which later progressed into an addiction to alcohol, sex, and a reckless rock and roll lifestyle. The destructive behavior led to a crack in the soul and a massive awakening and shift in consciousness. With the newfound awareness and profound need to live a more holistic and natural existence, Greg found his way to the realm of herbal medicines and medicinal cannabis. Studying and obtaining 2 degrees online at the Center of Excellence out of the United Kingdom, Greg fully stepped into his passion and obtained a wealth of knowledge and gnosis, I think that's how you say it, I'm probably saying it wrong, on the connection to God and the earth through the use of herbs, cannabis, and other holistic health practices. And as time progressed, Greg also discovered and harnessed a very profound empathic and psychic abilities, as well as intuitive tuning and one's energetic field and body language. The road to God and self isn't an easy one. It takes time, patience, fortitude, trial, and error. Nevertheless, when you know thyself, you can love thyself. When you love yourself, you can therefore love others and see the beauty in everything good and bad. You are a miracle. You are a pinnacle of creation, as the words of Greg. So before I bring Greg up, I just want to let you know that he offers, we talked a little bit so far about what he offers as in amazing programs. So he offers monthly mentorships that grant you weekly access to personal guidance, spiritual coaching, and 2 in-depth personalized protocols with dietary suggestions, holistic remedies focused on exercise and self-help techniques, empowerment workshops, master classes, and high vibration gatherings in which the client is given the opportunity to interact with like-minded individuals and the high vibratory mentors in a safe environment that will completely transform your perspectives and overall soul trajectory. No dream is too big. There's also 1 month-long containers that allow multiple participants to work alongside Greg exclusively online via StreamYard to put into practice all of the elements that require on the spiritual level and the encompassing obtaining your goals and dreams. It starts with your belief and understanding the keys, the codes, and manifest everything you desire. This is a private group setting, limit of 8 people max. They also do free workshops, surprise masterclasses, and interactive gatherings via StreamYard, which is what we use here. Designed to give you a glimpse into our upcoming his upcoming products and services and creating and manifesting. So we're going to be posting his YouTube channel a little bit later in the chat. It's also below this specific video. And guys, do us a favor, please share. This is important information. So let's bring up Greg. Galactic Greg, how are you, my brother?
I'm fantastic. How are you, Rob? And that was quite the introduction. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here this evening. And thank you so much for having me.
Yet one of the things we tried to do is, we do a lot of consciousness work here, and a lot of the insight into awareness and intuitive type of skills. One of the things we fall a little bit short on this specific channel is the physical aspects of it, the holistic and the remedies of the body, and how to keep your alignment with your vessel as well as your consciousness. So, I thought that you would be a great gateway into delivering a lot of how that transitions between the two and how that alignment comes into focus. So I'm really excited to have you here. And, hello to everybody in the chat so far. So just so people get a better understanding of you, Greg, I want you to try and go and give us where this all started for you. Paint us a picture of how Greg stepped into his awakening process and where it's kind of led you to this point.
Well, I don't mean to be cliche or cheesy, but it began for me, the whole awakening process. It began in various stages. Mainly when I made the decision to no longer take psychiatric drugs, to step away from that, understanding when I looked in the mirror that I was more. And then I had this desire to see what was outside of that box, to essentially exist outside of the box. So it began with that. When it comes to enlightenment and awakening and what's going on in the world and in our universe, in our full spectrum universe, not to sound cheesy or cliche, but it began with the fall of the Cabal, as it did for many individuals. My partner at the time said, "I've just seen this mind fuck of a documentary, and I have to show this to you. You're not going to believe any of this." But that's the thing. I believed all of it. I believed every single word, everything that was shown, every last PowerPoint presentation. I believed it all, and it began my awakening. It allowed me to see the world for what it really was, and it began the path for me. Obviously, the stages of awakening, there was that shock, that initial shock and awe, that absolute depression, the sadness, the sorrow, the despair, the who, what, when, where, and especially the why. Why? How could this be? How could this be going on? And I just began researching. I began following up. I don't know, Rob. It's really hard to describe. It was just that observation of that truth. It opened up so many doors within me. It gave me permission to express myself. I think key point here is that it gave me permission to express myself in various different ways that I've never done before. Okay. It emboldened me to essentially step into my truth, speak my truth. Now, obviously it has evolved. It has evolved greatly since then. It's no longer about the intel. It's no longer about, what's going on out there. We all know that there's narratives. We all know that there's stuff going on out there. We all know the world is collapsing on all levels. We get that. It truly evolved into a journey of self. As I said, it evolved into that journey of how can Greg express himself? What is a higher expression of Greg? How can he bring this to the table? How can he encourage others to step into a higher expression of themselves, not just spiritually, but also with their physical bodies as well? And that's when I, met Robin and Leah, a chance meeting. They found me on Facebook, and myself and Leah began a great friendship, and soon Robin came into the fold, and I was just blown away at Robin's connection to spirit and his overall awareness and enlightenment. And as you said, before we got on here, we really do kind of, complement the other one. And I was shocked. I was shocked that I was even able to listen to what this individual had to say, because what he was saying, Rob, was so profound and so out there, right? No one's ever heard this stuff before. I was shocked that I was even able to listen to it myself, but we truly began a friendship and a brotherhood, and it has evolved into Spirited Rebirth and Herbal Healing, which is a divine trinity of not just your physical body, but your spiritual body as well. It's the one-stop shop for everything. It's not just, take 3 pills and call me in the morning. This is truly cutting edge healthcare. We knew this when we started it out, that this would be the new healthcare. This would be one of the fine examples out there on, what we can do in the future to essentially take care of ourselves. It's going back to what was going on in Tartaria, with the sound healing and all of the centers that were built for people who weren't even ill, but just to go and maintenance themselves, just to go and take care of themselves. And that's the sense. Now we have to do a little bit more work now because we have been so poisoned and programmed and conditioned in this world. So it takes a little bit more than just sound healing or maintenance to get ourselves to that point. But that's what I love about it. I love being able to jump into the challenge of, facilitating a space for an individual to grow and to evolve. And it's beautiful watching them grow and evolve, especially physically, to finally see individuals get their physical health in order, which is so important because we are soul. We are soul, but we are in this physical vessel. And the dark controllers have been trying their damnedest for eons to kill us. And we all know how hard it is to kill a human being. But nevertheless, it is just an incredible privilege to be able to help individuals meet their goals physically, helping them and assisting them, not doing it for them, but helping them and assisting them stepping away from Western medicine and coming back to Mother Gaia. Whatever ailment exists in the world, there in nature lies the cure. There's a plant for everything. There's a series of plants for everything. There's a series of methods and techniques. We have, Ayurvedic, TCM, traditional Chinese method. You have, North American herbalism and Native American medicine. There's so many routes that you can take. And I love being able to just explore all of them with individuals. And each and every single individual is different, which is what, makes it all that more exciting. It's a new challenge each and every single time. So a little long-winded, but
That was perfect.
That's how it all began for me. And then that's where we're at now. And we're pressing forward as Spirited Rebirth and Herbal Healing continues to evolve. It's not just the physical aspect of it. That's what the divine trinity of myself, Robin, and Leia grants permission for, is the ability to essentially heal on all levels. You have the physical aspect, and then you'll have the egoic side of it, which Robin will address, and the psychic aspect of which Robin will address. And then you'll have the feminine aspect, the deeply rooted, beautiful feminine aspect, which Leia will address. So you're addressing the whole being when you come into our space, and it's not easy work. It's not. There's a lot of people that turn away from that because we've been programmed and conditioned to fear the emotion, to fear the feelings, to fear getting in here and actually discovering what's going on in there. So this is not for the faint of heart, and you know that, Rob. This journey is it's something else.
It definitely is. And, a lot of the key points you said there is how the, starting and being on those psychotropics kind of, it debilitates you on such a level.
Yes.
that your outward expansion is inert at that point. And they want to put everybody on these things now. They're giving these things out like it was candy. And I think that's it's really crazy to see how, and to see how they're really establishing their foothold in each and everybody's lives. And that fall of the Cabal is powerful. And like you said, you go through those, everybody kind of goes through the same sort of, I guess, path in that, where there's this alone time. Then there's after you're done exploring and feeling how disparative everything is around you, the next step is, well, it's human nature the soul's nature to try and recover and come back and figure out a way to either help or figure out ways to kind of avert yourself from being on in their gaze and kind of take yourself away from those things. So, and then you get to that point where you're now outwardly projecting all of the positives that you've come in contact with, and all of the studies that you've done it's truly incredible. And, that's sort of what this show represents, is that finding that path, going down that path, and now we're coming back together to explore why, how, and when we've gone through all these things, and what does that mean to us now moving into the future to create that legacy, so the generations after us don't have to be stuck in what we were ultimately beginning in, and stuck in those moments, and now we're flourishing and coming out of it. So I love the fact that you talk about the divine feminine and the balance of the masculine, the feminine, and the intuitiveness and the awareness, because into this great alignment with the feminine that's going to transcend everything. It's going to change. It's changing everything as we know it already. But when more people begin to attune to that, polarity of what it really means, I think it's going to take us into our ascendance even further. And the body is important, like you said too. It's so important, because you could be consciously elevated on so many different levels. If your body isn't in that same boat, you're deficient somewhere and you're not reaching your full potential even yet, as we go forward. And I love the fact that you kind of encompass all of it. It's like a spiritual boot camp to really get you in tune with yourself, and then in tune with the others around you, because you're doing it not only in a one-on-one session, but in a group session. So you can actually engage with other people, which is another really big step for me anyway. I was thinking these things for a very long time, but to come out and say them to others and run things by people was just, they're going to think I'm crazy. And now it's to the point, like, I don't care. I don't care what you think. I know that there are communities in which I can vibe with now,
Yeah. Well, there's no fear of the truth anymore, especially within the age of information. It's out there, regardless whether it is true truth or not. No one's afraid to essentially speak anymore. It's out there. And I loved how you mentioned, with the physical body, this ascension is not what was reported throughout biblical scriptures and in the past and whatnot. We're not just all poof, disappearing and whatnot. We're taking our physical bodies with us. Okay. And our physical bodies have unfortunately sustained, a lot of damage over the many incarnations that we've come in here, especially with the push of petroleum-based, westernized, medicine over the past 100 years. Our health has become, our physical health has become a sole focus. It has become something that has almost seemed unattainable at one point. You look at the medical industry, you look at the health industry, you look at the food industry, all these industries intertwine into almost a demonic entity, right? There's so many ways out there that we can essentially either quickly or slowly destroy ourselves. But again, we did incarnate here to experience all this. We incarnated here to eat meat, to have the good things, to have the bad things, it's all part of the experience. But we also did come here to also experience, again, the most highest expressions of ourselves, and that includes with our physical body. So with this ascension, our body is actually coming with us. But the body has sustained so much damage along the way that the soul is having trouble fully being able to be present, coming through, and actually being in the driver's seat. We all know, those that suffer from, let's say, an autoimmune deficiency, we all know how horrendously difficult and painstaking an autoimmune deficiency is, regardless of what it is, regardless if it's fibromyalgia, lupus, AIDS, diabetes, whatever. All right. We all know that it's horrendously painstaking and that it takes us out of our now moments. Okay. Pain and suffering takes us out of our now moments. And when our body is in pain and suffering, we cannot, the soul cannot fully be present. The higher self cannot fully be present, right? Because where is our focus? Where is our focus? So what, my calling and what I have sought out to do as an herbalist, as a spiritual practitioner, as a health and wellness coach, is to get the body to a state of equilibrium and balance. That's essentially what it's all about. What these autoimmune deficiencies, what all these deficiencies, all these ailments and illnesses are, is an imbalance. Either it's been man-made or you've done it to yourself. It's all an imbalance. So it's about either forcefully, because there's certain cases where you really do have to hit it hard. There's been certain clients of mine where I really have to hit them hard with something in order to get something corrected. So it's either forcefully or kindly, gently encouraging the body to come back into balance, because the human vessel, the physical temple, is an amazing, amazing creation. And as much as it has suffered, it can come back to balance just like that. It truly, truly can, with the right encouragement, with the right protocols, with the right modalities, with the right intentions, with the intentions set by the individual. They can really, really accelerate that healing process and bring forth equilibrium back into the physical body. That is why I kind of categorize myself as an unconventional herbalist, because my methods are a bit unconventional. They're a bit out there. They're a bit radical. So many individuals are looking for that silver bullet. Everyone's looking for the silver bullet. And there's also the silver bullet theory or the magic pill or whatnot. They're looking for something to cure them overnight. They're looking for that instantaneous fix. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is no such thing. There is no such thing. There is no such thing, especially when it comes to herbal medicine. Now, we can experience instantaneous results when we begin a protocol, when we begin the process, but in reality, it really does take time. It really, really does take time, and individuals will experience results, but then they'll have what I call like a dip period or a diagnostic period, where more variables come to light that weren't there before, but now are making themselves present and known, so that we have a fuller picture of what's really, really, really going on. And that's why I consider myself to be unconventional, because a lot of practitioners and herbalists and specialists, and no fault to them, have been trained to really, really, attack an issue, form an identity around the issue, and that's the narrative, and that's it. And if something else goes wrong, well, I have no idea. I don't know. Well, what I like to do is I like to give it some time, and I like to allow that diagnostic period, or sometimes there'll be many diagnostic periods that come up. And also keep in mind, with the ascension process, with everything coming in, all the light codes and everything coming in, it's important to know that our bodies are upgrading as well. So we can also evolve out of our original processes and protocols. We can actually outgrow them. I've had clients that come to me and say, hey, you know what? I have a specific client who says, I loved holy basil. It was one of my favorites, but now I can't even stand the smell of it. It's just, I've outgrown it. I can't do it anymore. It doesn't. And that's beautiful. That's a wonderful thing. That's what we want. It doesn't mean that, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to take now? No, that means your body is now expressing itself in a higher, healed, and more equilibrium state, a more balanced state. So that is a very, very, very good thing. So we have to understand too that we will also outgrow things as well. And I love that. I love when a client evolves out of their protocol and says, hey, you know what do I do now? This is where I'm at. This is my expression where I'm at now. Okay. You're at this higher expression of self. Guess what? There's protocols, modalities, and herbs that will match that frequency. that will match that higher expression of self. So you actually get to continue. And it's not that I'm assigning this to you because you're ill and you need to continue to get better. No, you are getting better. But now you can continue to put stuff in that'll match that frequency and match that vibration. So that's really the scope of how I address, each and every single client. And every client is going to be different. Every individual's physical health is going to be different, especially if they're taking Western medicine, and there's no judgment. There's none at all. There's plenty of ways, around that stuff. And if the individual per se is not comfortable coming off of those drugs, then I can still present a path forward for them. I can still present to them a plan, a series of aligned actions that they can have in their possession, that when they are ready, they have the plan right before them and they can just jump right into something. So yeah, I see myself as unconventional and a bit radical, but I really do like to encourage the physical temple to heal itself, to truly just give it that encouragement. And also, dealing with the client's specific needs and tailoring these protocols and these techniques to their specific needs. An individual, for example, might have a really sensitive gut. All right. So we can't just pile drive them with stuff. We have to, take it easy, or we can give them a lot of stuff, but we have to kind of cut the dosages in half, or even cut them into quarters and just gradually build them up. And then also focus on the gut issues to gradually strengthen their gut, so that when they do get to that point, they can actually start taking the dosages that they actually really, really need, that the body's really then therefore going to actually respond to. So it's like a game of operation for me. I don't mean to say it's like a game, because it's not a game, because I take it very seriously, but it really is. It really is operation for me. I really, really do sit with each and every single individual's health. And I truly, truly do. I even psychically tune them to actually look and see what their body truly needs, and what's really going on as well too. Because there's when you're dealing with illness and sickness, there's a bunch of other things attached to it, right? There's the emotional aspect, which is the biggest aspect of it. There's the emotional aspect. There's the gut. There's the brain. There's the central nervous system. There's the endocrine system. Just because you're on high blood pressure medication does not mean you have a cardiovascular issue. It does not. It does not always mean that. That's why I really like to sit with stuff and really like to tune it in order to truly visualize for myself, and therefore present it to the individual, a path forward that may be challenging, but at the same time, that challenge is going to facilitate a space necessary for them to grow and evolve in that space, and actually heal themselves and inform them and empower them along the way, because I can't do it for them. I can't do it for them, and I'm not going to do it for them. The idea of a true herbalist is to inform you and to empower you to do it yourself, to eventually say, hey, Greg, thanks for the kickstart. Thanks for the catalyst, but I got it from here. And that's what we want. And that's a joy that an herbalist gets to experience.
That's truly being like a forever student. We do it with all the other researches. It should be that way with that as well, once we start to know something. But so many things you said during that section of what you were saying is, with society, and we see that there is this light and dark, and there is absolutely a war, and there's so much subversion that once you get through some of the ailments that are hurting somebody, another one seems to pop up. And that's how divisive that darkness is. And it can be there for everybody, and how well planned and how well thought out their systems are to hamper us in our physical. It's so incredible. And I like what you said too, with, once somebody, they start to eat, let's say it was the basil, they can't take it anymore. It's like going to the gym. You do the same exercise over and over and over. You're going to hit a certain plateau and you're going to stop. It's like muscle memory. So the body has like herbalist memory, I guess you could call it. And you have to switch it up a little bit to get the same desired effect if you want to keep growing physically in the gym. So it works out. There's so many similarities of what everyday life brings and how important this is, especially now after the last few years. Trust in Western medicine is out the window. I
Yeah.
wouldn't trust them to work on my dog, like anything like that. Like, it's really that bad. It's a lot of these people have become part of that darkness because it's the money aspect. It's not that code anymore, that saving people or helping people, where as the spiritual community has kind of taken on that role, no matter what aspect you're in, whether it's like you, the herbalist, or somebody who does psychic readings and intuitiveness like yourself too. But they're doing something in the way of helping people as opposed to hindering progression. And I think that that's something that we've kind of seen shift towards this community. And of course, there's some people who will outright not want to be a part of the community because they're just not at that level yet, but we hope we wake everybody else up. So, when you were on a live today and you guys were talking about a class you have coming up. So you want to describe what that class is and how this particular class is effective?
Well, we actually have two
Go for it.
in the pipeline right now. We have Neutralizing Narcissism, which is a 2-day masterclass, which we are conducting this weekend, June 11th and 12th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via private link. And that's $99 for 2 days. Narcissism is a phenomenon of consciousness. We have all experienced it. We've all met either 1, 2, 3, 4, several, maybe. We've all interacted with narcissism, narcissists. We think we know what it is. And it's also a potential within all of us. I know that may be, a little much for people, but
so true though.
It is. I mean, we can't polarize and identify with good or bad. We're all of it. We're all of it. The Christed journey is the two paths connected together. Okay. It's the harmony. All right. It's neutral. All right. It's understanding that I have this potential and I have that potential. And we have to start asking ourselves, why are these so-called narcissists, why this consciousness is making its way into my field? Why is that? Are they drawn to me, or am I drawn to them, or is it both? What's going on here? So Neutralizing Narcissism is going to be a game-changing masterclass in which we dive deep into this phenomenon of consciousness and actually expose it for what it is, what it truly is. And what it really is at a grassroots level is everyone's just trying to feel good. One of the biggest Achilles heel of the human experience, Rob, and you know this, we're all trying to feel good. We're all trying to feel good. We're all trying to feel good. And it doesn't matter how we feel good. It's just, I want to feel good. So if I have to disregard someone's feelings or their emotions or how they feel about what I'm doing in order for me to feel good, then, well, I'm going to do that. There you go. There's your narcissist. And how often do we do this? How often do we do anything we can to feel good? So you see, it's a potential in all of us. Now, I know that it runs even deeper than that, and we'll get into that in the masterclass. But I really do love our 2-day masterclasses. This is something that's fairly new that we've introduced. And when we came up with the idea for Neutralizing Narcissism, it was really inspired from our own personal experiences. I mean, I myself recently have come into contact with some. My partner has as well. I come from a family who's very, very narcissistic. We all do in one way or another. We all come, and like I said, we've had our experiences. So we really, really wanted to dive into this and to really dissect this form of consciousness, because it is a phenomenon, and we all identify with, well, they're bad and we're good, and therefore because of that I feel better. Well, there's a lot more to it than that, and we really have to look at why these people are in our field and what they're also here to teach us. Very, very important. What is this individual teaching us? Okay. What lessons are they presenting to us, and what lessons are we presenting to them? So this is a 2-day masterclass, June 11th and 12th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is at full price right now for $99, but you get all three of us, and it's going to be 3 hours or more for both days. So you're going to end up being with us for 6 hours or more as we dive into this. We always overdo it, Rob. We always go. When we do these master classes, even when we're doing our private mentorships, we go outside of time. We don't end the session because we're like, oh my God, we've gone for 2 hours, and I have to go to the bathroom, and I have to walk the dog, and I have to eat dinner, and I gotta go. Sorry. No, we end the session because we're like, holy moly, we have taken up 3 hours of your time. We had no clue what the time was. We've existed outside of time. That's enough. We want you to go take a hot bath and let that integrate for a little bit. Let that kind of sit for a little bit. Let that kind of steep. So we do give you, a lot of time. So for $99, you're getting over 6 hours of gnosis that you wouldn't get anywhere else. And it's life-changing. It really is. Now, second thing is something that's brand new. Was inspired by, I love the movie Inception. It's just one of my favorite movies. Christopher Nolan, from another world, laying red pills like no one's business, years ahead of his time. Just love his films and his writing. Inception was just an incredible movie, and I continue to watch it and continue to find nuggets of gnosis, and continue to kind of reestablish what it's really actually talking about, because it's so
deep.
It's
very
so
deep.
So deep. So we have created something called Inception Session. Okay, the Inception Sessions. And this is for individuals who are not quite sure. They're on the spiritual journey, but they're not quite sure where they're at, what their purpose is, or where they belong. This is the inception of your journey. The starting point begins with you. So what are you here for? What is the who, what, when, where, and why, and what is your purpose? That is what the Inception Session is essentially going to facilitate for you. We are going to get to the grassroots of who you are, your purpose, and why you're here. We're going to crack that open like an egg, and we're going to expose you to a higher expression of self that you didn't even know existed. All right. That's the Inception Session. So that's for people that are, again, on the spiritual journey. They're hearing things, they know things, but they're not quite sure where they fit in yet. They haven't quite found their purpose yet. And that is a one-time session with us. And that is for $111. Right now, we have 2 people that have already signed up that are raring and ready to go. We have 4 spots available. So this is like a 6-spot type of deal for the month of June. We have 2 spots taken already. We have 4 left, guys. 4 left. And this is also, yet again, another life-changing experience with us. And it gets you into our space. We understand that not everyone is going to put forth, thousands of dollars for a mentorship. We understand that. But we also understand that those mentorships are worth that. But we do want to offer, a wide variety of offerings and services for everyone in the collective, so that everyone has a chance to experience this, so that everyone has a chance to look at their ego and say, you know what? No, this is worth it. I am going to invest in this. I'm not going to listen to you this time. I know you're trying to protect me from spending money, but this is for me. This is a gift for myself. And that's what, we spoke about that today in the show. And that's what we really want to offer the individual's opportunity to do. Because, the ego 9 times out of 10 will rebuke, reject, and rescind anything that comes your way, just out of sheer protection of you. Even if it, has a nice fancy bow on it, it looks real good and looks really enticing, your ego will be like, nah, no, nope. So we want to give everyone the opportunity to finally look at their ego and be like, you know what? No, this is for me. I'm investing in me. I'm gifting this to myself, because at the end of the day, all you have to lose is fear. That's all you have to lose.
So true. It's so true. And, there is no price on expansion of self, and there is no price to come into your own in that awareness, because once you move forward into those moments and you can start seeing them in the now for what they truly are, and kind of absorbing the information that's coming in around you, everything seems different from that point forward, right? It's not just, it's a transcension to that, being able to really decipher the code that's going on around you and within yourself, but with also around yourself. And I love how you're tackling the emotion side of it with the narcissism, and that's got to be one of the biggest, I want to say one of the biggest adversaries for somebody in that awakening process, is to be able to be open to all different types of information. And while that information is coming at you from 16 different people, finding out what rings true to you, because everybody's reality is a little bit different through skewered of perception, right? So we all know that not everybody's seeing everything the same way. So you've got to be able to absorb all those different perspectives and not feel like, no, because you're saying it, it's always right, or because, you know, it's an emotional attachment to trying to be right all the time. And it's huge. It's huge. It was one of the biggest things that I think that I had to get over was, you know, just to keep it on the self, is I would research things, and then when I would research it, I would vet the information, and now, nope, that's right, that's what it is. I read it, I researched it, but then after receiving that information, it felt like something else was missing, like I wasn't getting the whole picture. And then I started listening to other people interpret that information and how their perspective opened my mind up to different possibilities within that information. And it truly became a moment of like, light bulb, hello, like I'm not seeing it all. My programs are keeping me from seeing all that. So now I have to deconstruct those programs, kind of write my own program, but also listen to what their programs are saying, because their programs are seeing it from a different angle. And now I understand the subject, whatever it may be, in a more robust fashion, because it's their emotions involved and their attachments to that information as well, and how it resonates with them. And it truly became a moment for me. It was like this. I felt like I had a lot more empowerment from that moment moving forward, and receiving and deciphering and discernment in general became so much greater in those moments.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, there's many levels of awareness. It's not just, you know, we started with everything that's going on in the world, and intel. Well, that's one level of awareness, and you plateau. It's awareness of the external. That's really all it is. So it's you're speaking of just that one level of awareness, but the growth and the evolution is so much more than that. You know, it's not just about recognizing what's going on in the external world. That's one layer. And to be clear, everyone out there within the community has figured something out, and they are a piece of the puzzle, but they're not the whole thing. You spoke about, 16 different people. That's how we all started out, right? We all started out with getting our information from multiple sources, right? And it was just information overload, right? And then we tried to take all of those multiple sources and piece what parts made sense, right? Trying to connect you ever try and create a story from someone else's story, or a bunch of multiple stories, and try and create something that makes sense? It was incredibly frustrating. It was absolutely maddening. So it's no judgment of anyone out there in the community, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. Like, Dolores Cannon, wonderful, an incredible individual. God bless her, but one piece of the puzzle. One piece of the puzzle, guys. When it all comes down to it, you can look at everything out there. You can find people that you resonate with, and you can, take that information. You can even apply it to your life. That's great. That's wonderful. That's what Spirit and Rebirth and Herbal Healing was created for, so that you could make those things applicable to your everyday life. That's the point. But in reality, when it all comes down to it at your grassroots core, what is true for you? What is true for you as an individual? Like Rob, like you're discovering what's true for you. You've been doing the work. I've been doing the work. I'm discovering what's true for me as well. And that discernment becomes razor sharp after a while. Like in the beginning, we were taking information from every avenue you could possibly think of. But now that discernment has gotten so sharp that it's instantaneous, it's immediate. The moment you hear someone speak, you're like, no, nope, done, moving on. You don't want to hear it. And that's okay. That's a beautiful thing. That is your discernment. That is your gut. That is your emotional capacity within your gut finally operating in balance and in equilibrium, and therefore sending the messages to your brain and to the rest of your body saying, this isn't right. This is BS. I don't believe this. That's a beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the individual using their discernment, taking a step back, questioning things, or just all out walking away and saying, this doesn't resonate. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we're here to do. That's in part what we're here to master, is that discernment. So before it was information overload. Now we're not really I'm most certainly not. I'm not looking for someone to give me a new piece of intel or information, although it's happening every single day, right? We're getting a new narrative, a new story, a new perspective every single day from someone new. We have to understand that that's just the way it is right now. In the age of information, there's going to be, it's like whack-a-mole, right? There's going to be a new mole popping up every day that you got to either whack or you miss. All right. So, but we have truly sharpened that discernment now to where we can actually either resonate with something or not resonate with something. And that is where we want to be. That is living and embodying our truth in what is real and what is true for us. There is nothing wrong with that at all. That is in part the point of this journey, is to discover, to live, and to embody and to love your truth. Because when you do that, you love yourself. And therefore, whatever comes your way, or what anyone comes into your field that disagrees with you, could be a narcissist, who knows? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can move on. You can remain steadfast and confident in your truth because you've done the work. You've thrown yourself to all these avenues of information, and you finally put the pieces together and discovered what's true for you, because it's not about what's going on out there. It's what's going on in here. If we want to change the world, I know this sounds cheesy and cliche, but again, we really have to change ourselves first. We have to be the change that we wish to see in the world. And there's been individuals who've been saying that for years, and they are right. They are 100% right. It starts with us, guys. It doesn't start with, well, I'm going to wait for the financial system to collapse, and then I'll feel, and then Jasar, and all this fantastical BS to finally, take shape and take hold, and then I'll start evolving because I'll have money in the bank and I'll feel better about myself. It doesn't. Spiritual evolution is not a hurry up and wait mentality. It is not. It is not. It is balls to the wall, all in, all cards on the table, all chips in. It is you're either in or you're out. Simple as that.
So much so. And I love that you said that. And it's just, it does. If it's a great feeling to know that your discernment is that sharp like that. And it's empowering. Me and Omar from Watchers Talk, we say all the time, there's infinite paths to one road. And that one road leads to the internalization of everything. That's it. Because nothing on the outside will ever affect you if your internalization skills are properly attuned to who you are and what you want. Right. And, and that goes back to the saying that Stephen and Evan Strong say. And I say all these things throughout all my shows because I feel like they're important. We are the ones we've been waiting for. It's you. You have to do it. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Can't expect anybody else to do it for you. It's got to be you. And then Phil Gruber says the information is the activation. And that's what it comes down to, because when that information gets into you, it resonates within your brain or in your soul or in your skull, wherever you feel like it resonates. That's the information that you take hold and now gives you a greater understanding of what we perceive to be our reality, or what was, or what is, or what can be, right? And it's such a glorious moment. And this has been such a great conversation. I want to ask you, Greg, what's next for Galactic Greg? What's on the horizons for us that we can be seeing you?
Well, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, really. I'm just in love with what I do, with Spirit Rebirth and herbal healing. It's just going to be more and more evolution. Galactic Greg is going to continue to grow and evolve for his own soul purpose. That's what's next for me. I really do remain in the present moment as much as possible. And I do know that in the present moment, there's really nothing to figure out right now in the present moment. There's just that present moment. So I'm just going to keep doing all the things that I'm doing. I'm going to continue to evolve, especially, as an herbalist and offering, more services. I do have a holistic Voyager 6-month consultation that I currently do. That I've lined up some people that have some, excuse me, have some clients that have already signed up for that. And I'm really, really excited for that. That 6-month journey is really, really crucial to lay the foundation for someone's health to really properly to move forward. So I'm really, really excited about that. I'm just manifesting and creating, brother. I really am. I'm doing it's amazing how my life has changed in just the course of 2 years. And what is time? What is time? It's nothing. It doesn't really exist, but it has changed so profoundly in 2 years. Especially when I was able to see through the veil of intel and external narrative. And I saw what was coming with that. Myself, Robin, and Leah all saw what was coming with that. And we decided to politely and quietly step away from all that and begin the real work. And that's the way it's been ever since. But my life has, changed even more exponentially, since I did that. I've been able to really, really step away from the masculine driven schedule and really, really focus, on me, on Greg. I've, found my twin flame, connection. My life has just exponentially grown and changed in so many ways. So in this now moment and in every now moment, I'm creating and manifesting a beautiful and bright future. And I'm excited to be able to share that with others and continue my work as well, because everyone's physical bodies are going to need it. Everyone's is going to need this work, sooner or later. I mean, the divine feminine is alive and well, and the ego has nowhere to run. Trust me, I know. Mine doesn't. This guy has nowhere to run. Every time it comes up, it's sharp. It's there. It's present, and there's nowhere for it to hide. You can discern that real quick too now.
Oh yeah.
There's nowhere for the shadow or for the ego to hide. So this is the work. It's the work that I'm dedicated to, and I'm very honored and privileged to be able to be here and to be sharing it during this time. Myself and Robin are completing the work that we started back in ancient Rome, and we're here now finishing it. So I'm very honored and privileged to be able to do this.
Past lives coming forward. I love that. I love hearing about stories of past lives and things like that. And, it is amazing to be in these moments, and it's an honor and a privilege to have you here, brother, and for you to share your knowledge with us. And, I've got one more question before we jump out, but I want to say, even one-on-ones like these are so impactful to to me. And that's kind of why I do it. Like, there is a selfish aspect to these shows, but there's also, I want to bring information to people, right? And that ego was one of my biggest adversaries for a long time. I had to retrain my brain to kind of not, my subconscious, to not fall into that trap or the pitfalls of what that brings. With one of them is narcissism, right? And that's that ego arising. And it's truly been, just like you, it's been a wild 2 years since we're coming up on the second anniversary of this show. And, you know, I've been in this community for probably about 5-6 years, but the last 2 have been my most greatest leaps of growth. And it's just been incredible. And I get to meet people like yourself who enrich me even more with every contact, and the ability to listen is so huge. And, you know, I'm grateful. I have a lot of gratitude in these moments. And I want to give you one last question. And I ask everybody this at the end of the show is, what is one thing that you think people need to hear right now? And whatever that is, go ahead and tell them.
No one's coming to save you. No one. No one or nothing. The narratives. Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing. The second coming of Christ is you. It's you. It's the imperfect you, understanding and embracing that you are imperfect, and through that you are beautiful, and you are the pinnacle of creation. It is not identifying with being good or bad. It is understanding that we have the potential to be both good and bad and everywhere in between. And your ego is the Batman of the human and soul experience. We all know that Batman is the short-term solution that provides an accurate reflection of the truth in order to grow and evolve. It's a stark and at times dark example for us not to follow, but to evolve beyond. And I know that Batman is a very time-endearing and very alluring hero and a very alluring prospect, but we have to evolve beyond the cape and the cowl. We have to evolve beyond our wounds, our traumas, and our scars. Will they be the detriment of our existence, or will they eventually inspire us to be more?
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And again, I want to thank you. It's been an honor or a privilege to spend this time with you, brother. I'm truly, truly grateful. Everybody listening out there, please help us share this information out. We need to get it to as many souls as possible. We are the edge of that sword. We are the awakening when we transcend it and pass the information on so people can use their discernment to take what they need and pass on what they don't need. But at the same time, we need to reach as many people as possible. There is a awakening that is in progress that we are privileged to be a part of, and I just want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Thank you again, Greg. And that's all I got. I think we're just about going to shut this down, and it's been just an incredible journey, and everything you said tonight has just been on point, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks to everyone in the chat and for joining us here tonight. Appreciate it.
With that being said, it's time for you to get back into this spaceship and traverse this space back to your own universe. You've been in mine for an hour now, and I think it's about all that's given in these times. But no, it was just a joke. But love you all, love each other. This is what we are. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and the information is the activation. With that being said, my name is Rob Yox. That's been Galactic Greg, and we'll say good night.
Take care.